Mics, please. We get ready to start.
Okay, turn on those mics, okay. All right, welcome back, Councilman Wadsworth.
Thank you.
Again, welcome to all council members, to our city attorney, our mayor and treasurer in their absence, and then to our deputy clerk who will be presenting, and then our chief of staff will be here shortly. Today is Monday, April 14th, 2025, and this is the City of Romulus City Council special meeting study session, and this meeting is to discuss amendments to the honorary street sign dedication policy. And at this time, we will have roll call. Councilwoman Abdo. Here. Councilman Barden.
Here.
Councilman Kraut.
Here.
Councilman Jones.
Here.
Councilwoman Roscoe. Here. Councilwoman Talley.
Here.
And Councilman Wadsworth.
Here.
Mr. Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you.
Tonight's special meeting agenda is as follows. Number 1, roll call. 2, agenda. 3, discussion amendments to the honorary street sign dedication policy. 4, public comment. Number 5, adjournment. And a motion will be in order to accept the special meeting study session agenda as presented.
So moved to accept the special meeting study session agenda as presented.
Support.
Been motion by Ms. Talley, supported by Ms. Abdo, to accept the study session agenda as presented. Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you. Tonight's discussion, again, is regarding the amendments to the honorary street sign dedication policy. And so presenting this evening will be our Deputy Clerk, Dejan Hockenhall.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Good evening, Council, City Attorney, our Chief of Staff. I want to preface real quick that these are just recommendations and suggestions. On Monday, April 4th, myself, DPW, and the Police Department, we sat and we reviewed the policy, and we came together with recommendations based off of the current loopholes and issues that we have with the current policy and the application. So provided also with you is this listing here that has all the recommendations. These same recommendations and suggestions are also in the PowerPoint. Obviously, the PowerPoint is just more visually pleasing than this running list. What we ask is when you review this list, you can make checks off of the certain bullet points that you are agreeable to, and we will collect those from you and then create the policy based off of what was agreed upon from council as a whole. So, to get with our presentation, because I do not want to belabor the time knowing that we have another study session at 6 o'clock. Just a quick overview of the current policy. The current policy, not to get too much in the minutia of the policy, the application criteria states that a resident can be, an applicant can submit an honoree of a resident who has been a resident of the city for a minimum of 35 years and resided in the city at the time of the application. They must be a registered voter, as well as made a demonstrable and significant positive impact on the community. The cost that's listed on the application and inside the policy is a $25 application fee. It's a sign reproduction fee of $25 per sign, and applicants are responsible for the fabrication, installation, and maintenance of those signs. The current timeline of this honorary street sign policy is the application period starts the first Monday in April to the first Monday in May. Then there's a 30-day administrative review period of that application from those, the clerk's office, police department, as well as DPW. Council approves the application by the second meeting in June. The actual policy states the third meeting, but of course the voters approved a charter amendment that reduced the number of regular meetings from 3 to 2 in February of 2024. Now, the signs are installed by the last business week of July, and the previous year's honorary street signs are removed by the last business day in August. So the issues that we have identified with the current policy, one is obviously the costs. The costs are not really clearly defined in the policy. So the current estimated cost for the fabrication and installation of one street sign, that includes the labor for DPW comes to $558.78. Now, another issue is that we have identified is that signs are being installed on both ends of the street. Now, the fabrication of the sign, there is 2 signs per end of the street, one facing one direction, another sign facing the opposite direction. So when those signs are installed on both sides of the street, we're looking at $100 of a sign reproduction fee, or the cost of material for DPW to make that sign. Another issue that we have identified is that most applicants file on behalf of honorees posthumously. So therefore, in order for our department to review the voter registration history to identify if the individual was a registered voter, which helps us also identify and verify residency, it's not there because voter records are purged at the death of a voter. When we're notified, then their voter record gets purged. So that's an issue that we run into, and I verify in the application to make sure it meets the criteria as mentioned in the current policy. Another issue that we have identified is that the policy lacks a hard approval ceiling. Now, currently, the policy states that a maximum of 5 applications will be approved annually. Since the creation of the policy, which was in 2021, 26 applications have been approved, in which 11 of those 26 applications were approved last year. And also, that one thing that we have identified is that there is no clear disqualification criteria. Meaning, what is it that, as a council, you guys are looking at in the application that you will disqualify this application before it's moving forward through any administrative review? And if you have any questions, please feel free to stop me and ask questions, and I'll provide additional explanation as I can. Now, the current issues with the application is, and the application can easily be changed outside of the policy. The application lacks a date of birth of the honoree, so it's difficult for us in the clerk's office as well as the police department to identify the honorees that have common spelling of their names. And many of the, some honorees, they will like to put affectionate names that's on the application. So therefore, that's another layer that is difficult for us to identify if this is the actual applicant or the honoree that is being submitted based off of voter records and based off of police department's review through their records clearance check. Another issue that we identified in the application is that there are no inclusions of an alternate sign location. Some post signs are located on county roads which require county approval. So without having that alternate sign location, we're stuck with the proposed suggestion from the applicant. Another issue that we have identified is that multiple honorees are on the same application, whether it's husband and wife. That's basically been the trend that we have seen. Another issue is that the application doesn't specify, not necessarily the application, but the policy itself, do not specify who can submit an application on behalf of the honoree. So after we have identified these issues, then recommendations was made on behalf of, from DPW, Police Department, as well as the clerk's office. So some of the recommendations that we are presenting to council, again, these are recommendations and suggestions for council to review and identify and include in the amendment of the policy. One thing that we would like to do is reduce the residency requirement from 35 years to 25 years. We think it's important for individuals to receive their flowers while they're alive. This is not to negate individuals who have made a significant contribution to the city and the community at large, who have passed on, for them to be honored. But it's more special for another individual to see that the city is recognizing them for their hard work while they're here yet alive and able to receive it and able to hear the accolades, not only from the community but council at large. One recommendation that is being suggested is that 1 application per honoree. So if there is a husband and a wife, those will be 2 applications that will be submitted, because those are 2 administrative reviews that are being done from the clerk's office as well as police department. We also recommend that applications not be submitted by members of council, and this is a protective measure for council because it presents a conflict of interest where you submit an application that will come before you for you to vote on. So to not give the appearance of impropriety, it's better that for council members, you know, your spouses, your relatives can submit on behalf of an honoree, but the council itself, since you will be voting on this, it's prudent for council members not to submit an application on behalf of an honoree that will be before you for a vote. We recommend that no more than 7 applications be approved annually. This increases from the total number of 5 from the current policy. We thought that that would be a great kind of middle of the road number that we've seen averaging over the last 2 years. Another suggestion is the clear defining of cost that is within the policy and that will be stated on the application. And the cost that we recommend is a $100 flat fee. $50 will be a non-refundable administrative fee, because that is a fee, that is work that is done from the clerk's office as well as the police department. And then that $100 will also capture the $50 sign reproduction fee. And that will be refundable in the event that the application is denied or disqualified. One suggestion that was mentioned by the police department was a clear defining of disqualification criteria. An example of this disqualification criteria is that the honoree cannot have no crimes against persons, meaning any assault convictions, whether domestic violence, attempted murder, assault, things like that. And in order for us to identify that, will be that an I-check history be submitted on behalf of the honoree for the police department to review in addition to their check through Clemens. Now, on applications, the police department cannot run an I-check off of applications. They can only run it off of individuals who are applying for a position, a job application, not necessarily this form of the application. They cannot do it via the lien rules. It's also suggested that the street signs be installed at one end of their proposed street and not at both ends of the street. DPW requested a 60-day window from the date of approval in order for them to schedule and install signs. They were running into a lot of issues just in the last year where they had a lot of water main breaks and they were trying to get the signs unveiled and installed while they were short-staffed because most of the staff were dealing with the water main breaks and other issues as it comes up. The 60-day window, they believe that they'll be able to get the signs unveiled and installed. Another thing that is recommended is the removal of this one provision that is inside the current policy. It states that the city will maintain a plaque in the public area of City Hall that will list all recipients of the honorary street name dedication. Since 2021, unfortunately, that has yet to manifest itself. And considering that we have already had 26 applications, this will be a pretty big plaque. Now, again, this is a suggestion. Council wants to continue and have this particular provision there. We will obviously make the necessary steps to get this installed and get the names on it. I'm sorry?
The cost of the plaque, that's another cost
Yeah,
that we would have
and
to.
unfortunately, we have not even went out and looked to see what those costs would be. Some recommended changes on the application is that we would like the applications to include a date of birth for the honoree that assists us in identifying that the name that is on that application is actually the honoree that we're looking up in our QVF files and for the police department when they're doing clearance checks. The police department also recommends a form of identification that positively identifies the honoree with the submitted application, whether it's a driver's license, state identification card, passport, death certificate, birth certificate, the likes. That just helps us narrow down that this is the honoree that we're looking at in our system. Also, as mentioned in the policy, one application per one honoree. Another suggestion is that applications should include an alternate proposed sign in addition to the proposed sign location. So in the event that construction is being done on that street and it's difficult for DPW to get there, it's not feasible or even safe for unveilings to be done with the public, that we can move towards an alternate location and unveil the sign there. Another suggestion is that last one is that the applicant must provide proof of honorees' contributions, such as newspaper articles, resolutions, statements from eyewitness or beneficiaries. Considering that, you know, the review and the cost of unveiling for one application is a little over $500,000. And because this is such an important designation and honor from City Council to the residents, it requires just a little bit more vetting than just a regular application. Something that contributes to what's being stated in the application itself will be helpful, obviously for council to review those applications and approve those applications or deny those applications. So other recommended suggestions, and this was a suggestion to City Council, is creating an ad hoc committee. This committee will review the applications, provide a score on the applications as well as a summary of each application, then make a final recommendation on the 7 applicants that will move forward for council approval. Obviously, if we have more than 7, then that's where this ad hoc committee becomes even more pertinent. When there's less than 7 and it's less than the cap that is being recommended, then outside of the application review and any disqualifying features from the applicant, then obviously all those applications will be submitted to council. Another recommendation is in place of an unveiling ceremony, going from one location to another location to another location. The signs will still be installed by DPW, but there will be a dedication ceremony and possibly presented at a regular meeting of council, and at a designated time that a plaque or a certificate will be awarded to the honorees with a dedication resolution outlining the honorees' significant contributions, historical impact, or humanitarian efforts, while also providing a clear picture of the sign that has been installed. Are there any questions from council regarding what was recommended from the administrative departments? And again, we provide you with this listing here for you to review and make your check marks on what you agree to. And there's also a section for you to make your recommendation, write down your recommendations so that we can collect those at the end and then create the policy based off of what was agreed on from council.
Councilwoman Abdo had a question.
Yes, who is going to be on the ad hoc committee if we choose to go that route?
There's one route. We currently have the Executive Advisory Committee, which is 3 members of council to review it. And then it also could be city employees. Considering if council agrees and would like to have that iChat history, just to make sure that the honoree that's being honored does not have anything that may blemish the image of the city, it will probably be more prudent for city employees to be reviewing those information.
I think it should be up to council to be on that committee, number one. And then you have this suggestion that you have one big thing. I don't agree with that at all, mainly because I've gone to the street sign dedications of just about everybody in town, and it means a lot to the people of Romulus that they have a little ceremony where they're at the sign location.
Again, these are suggestions, not anything that is being imposed from any administrative departments. If council do not agree with any of the recommendations, then that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Through the
Madam Clerk.
chair, just want to respond to Councilwoman Abdo's comment. The reason why this is a suggestion, one of the issues was that with the personnel from DPW who have to call the families and schedule, you know, all the times for trying to gather families, it really took a lot of time from workers, you know, when they should be doing something else, but they were really, you know, that was just a concern. We made a note of that. They were spending a lot of time trying to coordinate those times with family members and dates changing. So again, as Dejan, the deputy clerk, has stated, these are just suggestions, taking into consideration just, you know, concerns that we've heard from all, you know, all the departments. I believe that if you keep the number, you know, if you decide for that number, let's say 7, it's not so bad, but, you know, the last year, there were 11, you know, street signs that they had to install one and then coordinate with all those families to try to, you know, schedule the unveiling. So that's just something to consider, you know, when you all are making your decision on, with regards to the unveiling part. That's all.
And one more thing to add, there was, even from last year, one was approved for the unveiling for this year
Yeah, I remember.
because we had 2 applicants that submitted for the same street. So that's just to take into account that whatever number that council agrees to is going to be reduced by 1 because that slot has already been filled and promised to the that particular honoree through a resolution from council.
Any other questions, council?
No, through the mayor, through the chair.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons, and I spoke with you at length about this, is when people come the day that we vote, nobody wants to vote no, because it's hard. So maybe having the committee to decide, come back, or either have a ballot that we vote on. Remember, we talked about that?
Again, these are suggestions, and it's up to you all to decide. But, you know, just the number, just, you know, take into consideration the number of applicants that you all, you know, approve. If, you know, right now, the current policy is 5, and it really hasn't been adhered to. So if whatever number you all decide on in the policy, that we have to comply and adhere to that number. And I think it'll make it a little bit more manageable, you know, each year when we have the applicants. You know, whether, and again, the ballot, if that's what you want to do, but at least you're sticking with the policy.
Let's stick with 5.
Through the chair.
Yes, Ms. Talley.
So do we have to decide tonight, when do we make a decision about this? I got another question following that one too. When are we going to make a decision on how to do it? What's the process, next step after
So
this?
once we collect,
When do you need these collected?
meaning that what was presented to you, this list, if you review, make check marks off of the individual items that are being recommended that you are agreeable to, we will take that, create that into and amend the current policy and present it to you at the next regular meeting.
What are we thinking as a timeline? Because I don't want to do this like right now.
Well, as long as we get it before, I would say that with the council packet are prepared that Thursday before the next regular meeting. So we
Okay.
would like it probably by
As soon as possible.
as soon as possible.
Okay.
I would say
Monday?
not,
Maybe
maybe next Monday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would probably be hopeful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we still have to compile all of your, you know, your suggestions and, you know, incorporate that in the policy. So we just need time
Right.
to compile all that together. So if next Monday, we could have those back from you, and you can scan them and email them or
Okay.
just drop them off.
Yeah, because I just want a little time to ponder it myself. I don't want to rush through this either. I mean, just to be honest, you know, this showed that there was a lot of flaws in the process we had before. I think these recommendations are good recommendations.
It was a lot of flaws.
It was a lot. We had a lot of holes going on. So this is filling up a lot of those holes. So I just need just want to take some time on it myself to look it over. I don't want to rush through it either, because I kind of think that's probably why we're in this position in the first place. So we kind of rush things. So, and then my second question is, with all the recommendations, even with the increased cost to the $100, with everything with the recommendations, because right now, how is this 558.78 absorbed?
It's absorbed by the city.
Okay, through our general fund?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, then, yes, it's through the general fund, and depending on the particular department, if they may have separate or special funds,
Right,
But it's absorbed by the city, and it's acknowledged that there will be some cost that is absorbed by the city.
Okay.
And I don't think that it's applicable or is appeasing, and the city has an appetite to forward that level of cost onto the applicant.
right,
So
right.
we're aware that we will eat some costs.
Okay.
But the cost for material that DPW uses on
Mm-hmm.
behalf of city needs, I think getting that cost returned back to DPW is prudent.
Okay, so do we think that this number will go down? Because if we talking about doing one side of the street, instead of, as opposed to both sides, we're increasing the cost to $100 for the application.
It's covered within that $50
Mm-hmm.
sign reproduction fee. It's covered for the one side
Okay.
of the street. Now, if council is wanting to do both ends of the street,
Right.
then of course, then the total cost will increase to
Increase
$150.
up, okay, thanks.
Any other comments from council? No other comments from council?
Thank you, City Council.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dejan. Thank you, city
Thank you,
council
Dejan.
members. Next on the agenda is public comment, and this is the portion on the agenda for those who are in the audience who would like to have remarks or comments concerning the honorary street sign dedication policy. You may do so at this time. Indicate by raising your hand after being acknowledged by the chairperson. Approach the podium, and you will have 3 minutes for your comments. We do not have any written requests.
Any comments from the audience? If there's no comments from the audience, Madam Clerk, you know what I do. Close
Thank you,
that part
Mr.
out.
Chairman. All right, thank you. Number 5 is adjournment. The time is 6:02.
So moved.
Support.
The motion by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Roscoe for adjournment. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. We are adjourned. Our next meeting will start now. It makes sense.
All right. Okay, moving on. Our next study session, which is to discuss, wait a minute. Next study session is to discuss the proposed 25-26 fiscal year budgets for the 34th District Court and the Romulus Public Library. Mr. Chair, we took roll at our 5:30 special meeting, and we had a quorum, and we have a quorum now.
Okay.
So we will move on to the special meeting agenda, which reads as follows. Number 1, roll call. Number 2, agenda. Number 3, discussion. Proposed fiscal year 25-26 city budgets, 34th District Court, Romulus Public Library. Number 4 is public comment, and number 5 is adjournment. And a motion will be in order to accept this special meeting study session.
So moved to accept the special meeting study session.
Support. Been motioned by Ms. Talley, supported by, I think it's Mr. Jones, for,
Kraut. It was Mr. Kraut.
Was it
That
Mr.
second-
Kraut?
That supported it.
oh, Mr. Kraut supported that? Who supported that? Speak up.
Both of us.
Huh?
Yeah, he did,
Both
Mr.
of them?
Kraut.
Both of them?
Yeah.
Flip a coin, which one y'all want?
Make a difference.
Okay, we're gonna go with Mr. Jones. Been motion by Ms. Talley, supported by Mr. Jones, to accept the study session as presented. Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We are now in discussion, and I'm not sure who's going to open up our discussion. Will be our Director of Finance, Maria Ferris. Am I correct in that? Okay. She'll give the introduction.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, Chief of Staff, Administrative Staff, and presence. Currently tonight for our session, we are going to have the court. They're going to present their budget, and then following the court, we're going to have the library. We have Patty Braden here as well as another representative from the library. So on that, I will give it to the representatives at the 34th District Court. Good evening, Council, Mayor, Madam Clerk. My name is Mariah Lewis. I'm the Court Administrator at the 34th District Court. I'm Shannon Nagy, Finance. So I've not done this without our accountant before. I'm not sure how to open, so if you have any questions for us, I'd be happy to answer those. Or if you'd like me, I'm not sure how did you do it last year? Okay. So any questions, we're open.
Council have any questions for? Any questions from council? Discussion from council?
Through the chair.
Yes, Ms.
Yeah, I'm going to
Abdo?
direct this at the mayor. When, it is obvious the people of Romulus are paying for the court. Have we heard any type of change or anything that's going to happen? You've been telling us, oh, we're working on a different funding, but how long are we going to have to keep paying for the court?
Well, there's two different topics when discussing the court, and you're talking about the building and the structure itself and also court operations. The court building is still being funded in accordance with the fee that was established during that process. So it's not coming from general fund, or tax dollars are not paying for the building. The building is being supported by people who use the building. The other part is court operations, and we are, by the agreement, when the court was funded, responsible for operations. Now, we have seen this year, that I'm cautiously optimistic, we've seen less drain and less bills for it from the court. That shows it being increasingly self-sufficient. And going back to the old methods of operation, but we are still funding their health care and part of their pension contribution, I believe. And when I say that we're working with the other communities. I have a meeting next week with the state court administrator. I'm also on a board with MML to oversee state court funding, because this is a bigger issue. This is statewide. It's not just 34th District Court. So we're going to make sure that we're in the room having those conversations. We've also had meetings with the 5 communities and 34th District Court to discuss transparency and how we move forward. On that, we don't have a solid solution for the issue right now. Like I said, it's a much bigger issue than ours. The things that we can control are hire new police officers and bring back a traffic division that helps substantiate, and it's not just to fund the court, it's to take care of some speeding and some traffic issues that are significant in the city. So we're still working on those solutions. In the budget that you'll see before you too this year, we are requesting funding for additional police officers to bring back that traffic division on a full-time basis.
I thought we voted on that previously to bring it back. Do
It's
we
going to
have?
be, well, we had a couple officers who are in training. They're still not sufficient yet, and we're still working with them, but we're also bringing in new positions. And when Chief Finance, I don't want to get too far ahead of it. When Chief Finance is presenting his budget, he'll have more direct information for you on that. But we want to bring additional officers on.
So at this point, we still don't have a traffic division?
We are running traffic quite a bit, but we don't have a specific group for traffic division.
Well, I got to tell you one thing, Huron Township sure does. You can't drive down Pennsylvania Road and speed at all, because they've got traffic police all the way up there and Sibley, so at least they're contributing to our.
And I spoke to Huron about that before, and their policies and how they run. And the thing that we have that Huron doesn't have, we have additional crime. We have an airport, we have expressways, we have the hotel district. Those are things Huron doesn't have to deal with, but it takes a lot of our resources away, which is why we want to hire additional officers this year.
I understand that, but kudos to Huron, though. They're definitely donating, they're definitely contributing to help it.
The chair.
Yes, so.
And
Tally.
just so I know, even when we were in the budget meetings, Mayor, some of the things they were talking about solutions, and one of the things that came up was targeting the commercial side of things in our city. Seems like would be a very huge opportunity for us to target that side of things. But of course, like you said, we need the manpower, we need the staff. But it was a lot of good discussion through our budget regarding this situation. So you just got to keep pounding at it, so.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
I don't want to misspeak, Chief Finance just left, but we do have an officer who's trained in weights and measures and
Okay.
trucking, but he's busy training other officers. So we hired a new
Gotcha.
officer, so he's busy being a training officer for other ones.
Okay.
We've also worked with Huron, Huron's chief has offered to help our crews with their training, with their learning process, and borrow some of their techniques that they're implemented, so.
Okay.
Still working on the solution, it's never as fast as
Right.
we want it, though.
Yeah. Thank you.
John?
Yeah, Mr.
If I
Wadsworth?
could, Mayor, retirees, healthcare, I see a figure in there for next year of $221,000. Are we gonna pay that out of general fund, or is the court gonna pay it?
That'd be a question directed to the court, so.
Well,
Yes, Mr. Wadsworth, we are working towards being able to take back over paying for the healthcare.
okay, good, fine.
Yes.
I'm glad to hear that,
Yes.
okay. Thank you.
Any other from council, discussion, comments from council? No other comments?
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
If anyone has any lingering questions, please feel free to contact us at the court. We'd be happy to speak with you.
Thank you.
I believe next up is our librarian, Ms. Patty Braden. And Miss Debbie Hoffman.
Good evening, council, mayor, city clerk, and chief of staff and audience.
Speak in the
We're here to
microphone.
present the, oh,
There.
pardon me. We are here to present the 2025-26 proposed budget for the library. And we all know Debbie Hoffman, she's our board treasurer, she's gonna help me out with this. So a few points, a few points that we wanna make, is first of all, our revenues. We have had a substantial decrease in our Keno 5 revenues, which decreased our revenues by 18% for this coming year. Other than that, our accounts, our revenue accounts remain steady.
We don't have a copy of that.
John,
Can you?
we don't have a copy of what you're saying,
A copy?
yeah? So we can see
Do
what
you have the
you're...
budget in front of you?
No.
This is just my notes.
The sheet that you're reading from,
I'm reading, I just.
I would need
notes.
binoculars to see that from there. We should have been given a copy like we did for the 34th court.
Do you have the copy of the proposed budget?
No, I
On page
don't.
125.
No.
No.
The
No, we
proposed
don't.
budget was emailed to everyone because it's a big, thick.
It's on my computer at
document.
home, I could have brought it.
If we have a copy, we can you make it larger?
Yeah, we can't even see it.
That's all right, go ahead with what you're
These
saying.
two don't work anyway. These two don't work anyway.
Yeah.
There you go, we can see it now.
There you go.
All right.
Well, my screen don't work, so it would make no difference.
Neither does mine.
Is it on?
Oh, thank you. I still can't see that.
Okay, ready? Okay.
It'd been easier to give us a sheet.
Sorry about that. Hope you can see it now. So just a few points I wanted to make about our revenues. As I said, 18% decrease in our revenues this year. All the other revenue accounts remain
just about steady.
I'm sorry, through the chair.
Yes.
What page is that budget on? Because I have my budget here on my laptop. What page is that on?
125.
125? Okay, thank you, I'm sorry, because I can't still see that.
PDF page is 134.
134? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so despite increases in our expenditures, which I'll go through in just a moment, I wanted to point out that our levy has remained the same at .7 mil since 2017, so 8 years. We have not asked for an increase. Just wanted to make sure you're aware of that. Before we move on, any questions on the revenues? Okay. Our expenditures, we have decreased several of our expenditure accounts due to the loss in revenues. Our books account, operating supplies, memberships, education, training, and workshops, and a few other smaller cuts have been made to try to make up some of this 18% in the revenues that we are going to be lacking. We have made $103,060 in cuts to our budget for next year, and several of our accounts are up that are beyond our control. Things like healthcare, tech support, which is the city IT numbers went up for all departments, including us. And there's several others that we don't have control over that went up. In addition to that, we will be having a wage freeze that's in effect for next year. There'll be no wage increases for any library staff members. And we will have no capital projects planned for this year. Also, no computer replacements. You may know we have 17 public computers that we offer for use by the public, as well as all the staff computers. We have a regular replacement plan for those every year where we replace the oldest one, but this year we have cut that in order to try to make up for that loss in revenue. So there'll be no computer replacements this year. We hope we get through the year with that. Those are the highlights. Any thoughts or questions on any of that?
Any discussion, council? Continue. No questions.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's no more questions, are there any final remarks while we're still in discussion from finance or the mayor before we move on? I'm not trying to put you on the spot, I
No,
just
it's
didn't know
okay.
if there were any final remarks.
Good evening, council
I
again.
used to work on it.
So I guess we can go on to, so what we had planned today was the court as well as the library. Our next session for the city budgets, which is April 28th, that's when we will be in attendance. All city's administrative staff, we will go through the the city's budget. And then after that, we will have May 12th will be our public hearing, and then May 27th will be our final budget adoption and tax levy presented to council. So those are the next steps.
You feel the button?
Yeah. Unless the mayor has anything else further you'd like me to go through.
Not at this moment. I just wanted to preface it, kind of the comments that I made earlier about police. You've seen the budget, it's been brought to you. It's a budget that maintains a healthy fund balance. The experts say between 20 and 25%. We're in that area, and we have an increase in spending on frontline fleet maintenance. You'll see in there. Also, we're proposing 5 new police officers to address some of the issues we're talking about, and infrastructure. So only increases in areas that are critical to municipal operations. And once again, another modest budget. And I want to thank Maria and Gary and all the administrative staff that goes through with the needs over wants. It's just the most critical operations that we're still focused on in the city of Romulus. So, thank you.
And just, again, as a reminder, council is that your budgets were emailed to you. If you can't find it, or you don't see the email, you'd like us to, email that back, email it again, we can do that. Or if you need, assistance with, opening it or accessing, the budget. But it was electronically. And that's kind of how we've been doing it for a while, to send it to you
Right.
electronically.
I do need a question for Patty real quick.
Okay. And also it was emailed from the clerk's office and the finance department, so there should be 2 emails.
You noted, you said something about losses, but I'm looking at your budget, and it's really, really strong. It's staying pretty consistent across the board, even with the losses?
Well, if you look at the previous year,
Mm-hmm.
2024-25, our revenues, our total revenues were $1,061,030.
Okay,
This year,
Okay.
915,910.
So we're down.
We are expected to see some increase in the current tax, just naturally, that comes about. But with the major loss from the penal fines.
that's what, okay,
what
that's
it
where,
is.
that's where it hit,
Yeah.
okay, okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Any other discussion? No discussion?
Okay. Number 4 is public comment, and this is the portion of the agenda for those who are in the audience and who would like to address the city council regarding tonight's special meeting agenda concerning the 25-26 fiscal year budget. To do so, raise your hand, and after you've been acknowledged by the chairperson, approach the podium and state your name. We ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Any comments from the audience? No comments from the audience. Madam Clerk,
All right.
close the
So
part out.
then that takes us to number 5, adjournment. Time is 6:21.
Support.
Been motioned by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Roscoe for adjournment. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Mr. Crop?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, we are adjourned.